Most people need instructions to learn. They need rules, frameworks, someone to tell them where to look and what matters. But you don't. You watch once and somehow you get it. And because of that, school probably felt slow. Work meetings feel repetitive, and people often assume you're quiet or checked out, when in reality, your mind is doing something most minds never do at all. If you've ever felt like traditional systems weren't built for you, not because you couldn't keep up, but because they couldn't keep up with how you learn, this video is going to feel uncomfortably accurate. Because what you have isn't learned intelligence, it's observational intelligence. And once you recognize it, a lot of your life finally makes sense. 1. You learn by watching, not repeating. You don't need step-by-step explanations. One demonstration is usually enough. Most people need repetition to understand. They ask questions, take notes, and still need reassurance. You watch quietly and internalize the entire system. This isn't passive learning, it's context absorption. Your brain doesn't memorize instructions, it maps relationships. Psychologically, this is high-level cognitive filtering. You automatically discard surface noise and retain structure. That's why you often surprise people by doing something perfectly without ever being taught. 2. School felt limiting, not challenging. You were bored or disengaged in structured learning environments. Others struggled because the material was hard. You struggled because the pace and format were restrictive. Traditional systems prioritize information transfer. You prioritize pattern recognition. Your mind wants to understand why something works, not just what to do. This creates friction in rigid environments, but outside of them, your intelligence accelerates rapidly. You weren't behind, you were misplaced. 3. You notice patterns before people notice problems. You often sense outcomes before they happen. Most people react once things break down. You see the trajectory forming early. This is metacognition in motion. You're not just thinking, you're observing how systems behave over time. That's why repetition stands out to you so clearly. Situations feel familiar because you recognize the pattern, not the people. To others, it's hindsight. To you, it was obvious. 4. You rarely ask for instructions. You prefer to figure things out yourself. Most people seek clarity through authority. You seek clarity through observation. This reflects low external validation reliance. Your brain trusts its own internal model more than borrowed rules. You learn faster when left alone because you're not copying, you're integrating. This is why micromanagement feels unbearable to you. It interrupts your natural learning loop. 5. You understand social dynamics without participating much. You often stay quiet in groups but understand everything that's happening. Others need to talk to process. You process by watching. This is social pattern decoding. You read tone, timing, and behavior instead of words alone. Psychologically, it's tied to empathic accuracy, the ability to infer states without explicit information. People think you're disengaged. In reality, you're tracking everything. 6. You dislike being told what's right or wrong. You question rules that don't make sense. Most people outsource judgment to systems. You evaluate internally. This is authenticity orientation. Your mind rejects arbitrary authority and looks for internal coherence instead. You don't rebel loudly. You quietly detach from frameworks that feel artificial. That's why you've always trusted your own conclusions, even when they differed from the crowd. 7. You learn faster in real life than in theory. You grasp things instantly once you see them in action. Most people need explanations before experience. You need experience before explanation. Your intelligence is situationally embodied. You learn through exposure, not abstraction. Once you observe something in motion, your brain reconstructs the logic behind it automatically. That's why you often outperform people with more formal training, because you understand the context, not just the concept. 8. You get frustrated watching people miss the obvious. You notice inefficiencies others ignore. Most people adapt to broken systems. You immediately see how they could work better. This isn't impatience, it's system sensitivity. Your brain naturally optimizes. You can't unsee flaws once you've noticed them, which is why repetition and bureaucracy drain you so quickly. You weren't being critical, you were being accurate. 9. You've always felt like you were learning sideways. Your growth never followed a straight line. Others progressed step by step. You absorbed skills indirectly. This is nonlinear intelligence integration. You collect fragments, observations, experiences, patterns, and synthesize them into understanding without realizing it. One day, everything clicks, and people assume you suddenly became skilled. But it wasn't sudden, it was quiet accumulation. If you recognized yourself in this list, you're not difficult to teach. You're just not designed for instruction-based intelligence. You learn by watching the world move and understanding how it repeats. That's observational intelligence, and it's rarer than most people realize. Comment the number of the sign that hit you hardest, or just write, "I see patterns," because once you see them, you can't unsee them.